My last words to my mother. What does it mean to be a mother? What is the purpose of a mother if not to protect and to love her child unconditionally? But your love was very conditional. You talk about all the sacrifices you've made. You have the house, the husband, the job, this life. But was it worth sacrificing me, your child? You married a monster. I wonder if he was always so violent and short-tempered, even before I was born. Was he a drunk then? When did the drugs start? Did he ever beat you? Or was it only me? Do you remember in second grade when my assignment was to make a Father's Day card and write what I loved most about my father? I wrote, "I love it when he doesn't beat me." I thought that was love. How foolish was I to think that? But I should have expected that from two people who only got married because I was born. Not a marriage of love, but a marriage of convenience. I was an accident, a mistake, and you made sure I knew that. To have a house, but to never have a home, where every door was broken, where my screams, my tears, my cries for help did not matter. You just watched and did nothing as he took his drunken rage on me. I was just a child, your son. You were my mom, and I don't know why you didn't protect me. I don't understand. I begged you to leave him. You said it was my fault he drank so much. Do you remember that? You said it was my fault he was always so angry. I was nothing. I was an empty shell of a human being. And you stripped me of all the things that were me. And I barely existed. Yet my existence, just by me breathing, was enough for a grown adult who smelled like cigarettes and alcohol to beat me. I was a child, not even in 6th grade yet. I lived in fear every day of my life, believing he would kill me one day, and if I was ever myself, he would have killed me. What if I never learned that I could barricade my bedroom door with my dresser, my bed, my body? What if I never created an entire personality to handle life with you? I knew the person I had to be in order to minimize harm. I would say and do all the things you wanted me to do. And everything you know about me is a lie. Any memory you think is good is a lie. I did what I had to do to survive. You convinced me that if I ever told the truth, CPS would take me to a worse place. And I believed you, so I helped keep the illusion up that we were a perfect family. But I'm not going to pretend anymore. No more lies. You will try to blame him for me leaving, but we both know you were worse than him. You are no victim in this story. My only mistake was wishing and hoping that one day you would save me, that one day you would change. You are my mother, and you are the worst thing that's ever happened to me. You were no stranger to physical violence. You preferred the weapons, the belts, the wooden back scratcher, and anything that would sting, leaving red marks and burns. But you were no master of violence. You were the master of psychological abuse, emotional abuse. Your words were like venom. They were sharper than any knife, and they stayed with me, ripping apart my heart, my soul, my mind. You would flip like a light switch. One second you were normal, the next second you would look at me with such hatred and disgust. You would say such cruel words with a bitterness and a venomous rage, and you wouldn't stop. You would never stop. You would keep going until I broke, until I was tucked into my mind, while my body was just an empty shell of a human being, just filled with pain and sadness. And the next day you would act like nothing happened. You would feed me breakfast and take me to school like you didn't just tell me the night before how useless I was, how stupid I was, how you wish you never had me, but I should be grateful to even be alive. I should be grateful to have a shelter over my head. And we would repeat this abusive cycle every day for 17 years. Never a day of peace, never a day where you said sorry. Only each and every day that would pass, the yelling would get worse, the fights would get worse, my pain, my sadness getting worse. To be bullied at school, to be an outcast, to be the depressed kid, but to have to play the role as the funny kid who could put on a good smile. To be the kid that would have to lie and say he was just tired or sick when having to explain my red eyes from my tears in the morning car rides to school. To be expected to do good in school and study when I didn't see a future for myself. When all I could hear in my head is you telling me how worthless I am, how stupid I am, how everything was my fault. You would blame me for everything, things I had no control over. You would put the whole world on my shoulders, and I'll never understand why you were so angry all the time, how you couldn't see how much I was hurting, how depressed I was. To drown out all the fighting and yelling with music, to blast my music through my earphones, to drown out my own thoughts at night so I could fall asleep. You would get mad at me for sleeping so much. Everyone would make fun of me for it. But sleep was the only way I could escape. To be awake was the nightmare. At least in my dreams, I could imagine a better life. I would imagine what love was like, what it felt like. But even in my dreams, I wasn't safe from you or him. No child should have dreams of their own parents killing them, and I would have those nightmares often. I hated myself for so long. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought my mind was my enemy, but it was always your voice. I had no one. I only had you, and you wouldn't stop hurting me. You were my mom. You were supposed to protect me from this world, but I needed protection from you. People will ask, why didn't any other adults help? You weren't the only monster in my life, Mother. I couldn't tell you how many times I finally thought I found someone who would save me from you, only to find out they were just monsters in disguise. I have had my heart broken more times than a heart can endure. In my life, I had to be all the roles. I had to raise myself. I had to hold myself while I cried myself to sleep over and over again. I had to put the pieces back together. I had to be my own role model. I had to learn everything on my own, to figure out this cruel world on my own. And now I know I have to be my own friend, my own family. I have no one now but myself, but that's okay. I was so lonely. My entire existence was just pain and suffering. I was never angry. I was just so deeply sad and hurt because I couldn't understand why people were so unnecessarily cruel all the time. I was a kid who never knew what it felt like to be loved, to never feel what it was like to feel safe, never to know what it felt like to be happy. What did you think would happen to me? How much pain did you think I could endure until it was too much? I was nothing but pain and sadness, and you need to understand that. I was tired of fighting, and I couldn't fight anymore. All the awful memories playing on my mind on repeat, and no one would help me. No one would understand, and they wouldn't even try to understand. There is something deeply wrong with people in this world. They will always side with abusers and the people who oppress others. They made me think I was crazy for thinking I deserved better. People don't just break your heart or your bones. They could break your mind, and I think that's the worst part. I would try to make sense of all the cruelty. I tried to understand why in this world of infinite possibilities and choices, people always chose cruelty instead of kindness, and it made no sense. They say hurt people, but I was hurt. I was nothing but hurt, and I would still be kind to others. I tried to help others despite how much they would hurt me, but eventually I couldn't handle it anymore. The darkest day of my life, do you remember that day? I was just a kid, still in high school. The world, the people, you and Dad had broken me to the point where I did not want to exist anymore. I couldn't take any more pain. There are moments that define us, and this is the moment that defines you. Do you remember what you said to me in the exact moment I was ready to take my life, when I was at my lowest? When I was in so much pain that I didn't want to be alive anymore? Do you remember what you said? You said you wished I had killed myself. You said your life would be better without me, and that I should do it. And you meant it. And in that very second, you killed your child. It was like I took my final breath. All my pain and sadness turned to numbness. I felt nothing at all. You had sucked all the life out of me. It was the feeling of absolute hopelessness. It was when I knew no matter what I did, you would never love me, that I would never be good enough. Because what kind of mother would say that to their child at their lowest point? When all you needed to do was hold me and say everything was going to be okay. But no. Instead, you said the worst thing any mother could say, and that is what defines you. The years that followed only got worse. I had convinced myself that my life did not matter. I had no will to live. I had no dreams, no hope, no future. But I still had to play my part in this cruel world and attend college. College was supposed to be my safe place. It was supposed to be my chance at freedom. They said it would get better, but it got worse. I told myself I wouldn't take my life, but I would use it to save others, but it was at the expense of my well-being. Despite feeling empty inside, I was always kind to others. I was friendly. I was a people pleaser. And maybe that's what attracted the monsters. I'm not really sure how they always found me, or maybe I found them. I'm curious, how many abusive relationships could you take until it broke you? 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 20. What about the people who saw it all and did nothing? The friends that stayed by them? The people that would make excuses for their crimes? In college is when I learned young adults are just monsters in the making, broken by their parents, becoming monsters just like them. The abusive cycle all around us. Some don't even know they're a victim to it, and I tried my best to help them. I saw how much they were hurting on the inside. I thought if I let them take out their anger on me, and if I loved them, that they would choose a different path, that they wouldn't become monsters like you and Dad. But no matter how many punches, bruises, no matter how many times they broke my heart, no matter how much I was there for them, no matter how many times I would forgive them, even though they never apologized, they would never change. This lasted for 5 years. And it was all for nothing, too. Those people never changed. And they will continue to hurt others. And one day they will have kids and hurt them, too. And the cycle will continue. I blame you for what happened to me in college. I should have been stronger. I should have defended myself, but you conditioned me not to fight back, to not talk back. You took away my voice. That to defend myself would make things worse. And I didn't fight back. Every time I just shut down, my mind would be tucked away again. I was always there, but I couldn't move. And they hurt me. They hurt me in ways you cannot understand. Humanity is when you're at your lowest, already on the ground. And people will kick you. People will violate your body. They will laugh. They will make jokes. And they will watch. And the second you try to stand up for yourself, they will say you're just asking for attention. You're too sensitive. You are too soft. You are too emotional. They say to man up. Don't be such a girl. All I wanted is for people to stop hurting me. I just wanted to be me, to be Ryan. If to be a man means to be unnecessarily cruel and always angry, always violent, always putting others down, to be heartless, to be void of empathy, then I don't want to be a man. I wonder if we are all products of monsters, but some of us choose to fight to stay kind, but the others become monsters themselves. And the thing about monsters these days is that they have convinced themselves that they are the good guys. They see hurting others as a service, and they don't care how many people they hurt and traumatize. Yet despite all this, I have been cursed to continue to be kind and still try to help others, even though it was killing me. All because I promised myself at a very young age that no matter how cruel this world is to me, I would never become a monster like you and Dad. Sometimes I wish I could just be cruel like everyone else, but I wouldn't be able to live with the guilt of being the reason someone is in pain or cries at night. I wanted to be the reason they smiled and laughed, even though I was hurting inside. So I became the punching bag of the friend groups. Every friend group I was in, I would make people laugh, but it was always at my expense. I became addicted to alcohol in college, and it only made everything worse. I know I'm to blame as well, and I now realize I was addicted to pain itself. It was all I knew. To not feel any pain was a weird and foreign feeling. I believe I subconsciously self-sabotaged my life in the moments where I should be happy. I have self-harmed in many different ways, and I think I had convinced myself I did not deserve to be happy. People will say they loved me, but it wasn't love. Maybe they loved what I had to offer. They loved using me. They loved what I could do for them. They loved they could take their anger out on me, and I would forgive them. But did they love me? No. I was never enough for them. Someone who loves you wouldn't hurt you the way they hurt me. I was like a toy to everyone, something you played with, but when they broke it, they just threw me away like I was nothing. I was never seen as a person. I was never an afterthought. No one saw me. No one cared to even try to get to know me. I was merely an object to abuse and use to make them feel powerful. And I allowed it because it's what I thought I deserved. It was all I knew. I should thank you for that, Mother. Every holiday hurts, every birthday, and people won't stop asking me why I'm not with family. You were the cruelest and angriest on those days, and I was the saddest on those days. I wished for just one peaceful holiday, one without the screaming and fighting. That wish never came true. To this day, my heart breaks every time I see families sharing happy moments. Just the simple act of them laughing and smiling would be enough for a tear to run down my face. We never laughed, we never played games, we never talked. You just yelled, and you would never listen. We lived in the same house for 17 years, and yet we are strangers. I don't even know the color of your eyes because I've always had to keep my head down around you. I know nothing about you, and you know nothing about me. I do things alone now. It's better this way. You took away my childhood. College took away my youth. People just kept on taking parts of me, ripping my heart, my mind, my body into pieces until I had nothing left to give. I would shut down and sleep for weeks at a time to recover, to put myself back together, but to repeat the process all over again and again and again. And it never got better. Just worse. For the longest time, I thought there was something wrong with me, with my mind. The doctors diagnosed me with major depression disorder. I took the antidepressants, I did the therapy, but none of it helped, and they never told me I could get better. So I accepted my fate. I tried to be normal, I tried to play my part, I tried to get better. But then people broke me again. I had reached my limit of pain and I couldn't take it anymore. So I left. I told everyone I was going on a road trip, living out of my car, but I never went back. I changed my number, deleted all my socials, and erased every part of my old life. If I would have stayed, I would not be here today. I slept at rest stops, Walmarts, national parks, and it didn't matter because I was finally free. The worst thing a parent can do is convince their child that they don't have a choice. You limited my perception of the world, that I could only go on certain paths that would only benefit you, despite how much that path would hurt me. But I see now I can make my own paths. That it wasn't my mind that was the problem, it was the people. And I was foolish to think that antidepressants would solve anything. Pills don't stop bad people from hurting you. The pills don't stop the ones who were supposed to love and protect you the most from hurting you. From hitting you. All my life, people have been telling me what to do, who I was, what I should do, what I can and can't do. But that stops today. I know what's best for me. I know who I am. And I will not be anyone's prisoner anymore. I'm not afraid of you or Father anymore, and I don't need you. My story doesn't end here, but my story with you ends. You are my past, and there is no place for you in my future. I will not forgive you, but I will try to forget you. I don't want to hear your threats or your apologies. I will not be there when you are sick or on your deathbed. Someday, someone who shares the same blood as me will pass. I will not be there for anyone's funeral. You will not be there for my funeral. Someday you will think enough time has passed and you will try to reach out, asking to see me. You will use others to reach out on your behalf. It will not work. You will only hurt me. You are all strangers in my eyes, strangers who took 20 years of my life away. There is not enough time in this world where I would ever forgive you. Having you as my mother has been the worst thing that's ever happened to me, and I never want to see you again. All I have left of my past life are my memories, and that is something I wish to forget. I get to have the final word this time, and this is me having my voice back. I don't want you to watch over me. I wish you would just forget I ever existed. I wish you would erase every trace of me so I could move on. I know how you could be. You could be ruthless and stubborn. I need you to let me be. I need you to forget I existed. I need you to not try to keep tabs on me. I need you to... I need you to... I need you to let me go. I will live an extraordinary life, and I deserve to finally be happy. I want to be left alone. I want to exist in peace. I saved myself. I gave myself hope, and I experienced happiness for the first time when I was 23 years old, living out of my car, watching the sunrise at Mount Rainier, and it was so beautiful. The realization of how quiet it was, the peace. There was no yelling, no fighting. The realization I wasn't destined to live a life of depression anymore, that I was free. That I wasn't sick and that my mind wasn't my enemy, but it was the people around me making me that way. Their pain was my pain, but my pain was always just my pain. And I never want to feel that way ever again. I don't want to be in pain anymore. I don't want to be sad anymore. I now know how to exist in peace, and that's all I want. To feel the sunlight on my skin, to hear the birds singing, to watch the sun paint the sky, to climb up mountains, to sail the seas, to watch shooting stars at night, to eat delicious food, to do the things that make me feel alive, to see the world, and to do so in a way that doesn't hurt others, so others don't have to hurt me. And I will help others on my journey, to share my life, to inspire others, to show them that there's another way. that there's always another way. Life can be beautiful. I wish people could see life through my eyes, because then maybe they wouldn't have to be angry all the time. Maybe then they wouldn't have to hurt others. People will ask where my family is, and I will say it's just me. And I am good enough for just me. And just me is good enough for me. How in this world, everyone I have ever met has always had someone. They were always someone's person. And I couldn't find that, so I have to be my own someone now, and that's okay. You took my spark away, and now I have it back, and maybe I could help others get their sparks back. I get to live life now, a life worth living for, a life where you're not in it. I built this whole new life. I built a whole new life for myself, and I did it on my own. I got myself sober. I got myself sober. I know a part of you cares about me. I know that. I know that. But it wasn't enough. And I'm sorry that things had to turn out. And I'm sorry. And I'm sorry things couldn't turn out differently. But I don't want to hurt. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to feel this way anymore. And that's what we do to each other, Mom. So we don't have to pretend anymore. I will be okay. I just need you to let me have a chance at this. I could do this. I could. I built a whole new life. I did it. And it's a pretty good life. And I'll be okay. I don't really know how to say goodbye, but this is it. I hope you could respect my wishes and just let me be. You don't leave bruises and scars on someone you love, and I know that now. So, goodbye, Mom. Goodbye, Mother.